Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. How are you today? Hopefully you guys in the pink of health. Today our group will present you about financial. So hope you guys enjoy it. Let's begin.
Let me introduce you our teammates. The first one is Nur Sofia. The second one is Azmatun Adawiyah. And the last one is Ahmad Farhan. Okay, the introduction is we must learn or take care of the finance because finance become a hot topic these days and we must take care of it. And finance also should be concerned about we also should be concerned about its purity so that all that we do will be in this world will be pleasing of Allah to Allah, which is if we do something that Allah like, we will enter the Jannah. And if we do something bad or something that Allah really hate or Allah prohibited that, of course we will enter into Neraka Jahannam, to the hell.
Next, we are going to research objective for this assignment. We assign three purpose for this research. For the research purpose, firstly is to study the concept, characteristics, significance, and the role of Islamic scholars in Sharia resolution. So the second one is to explain the role of scholars and Sharia advisory board in solving the issue related with Islamic finance, and the third one is to analyze the issues that related to Islamic finance.
Assalamualaikum, I am Nur Sofia. Alright, for this slide, I would like to explain about the concept of Islamic finance. Islamic finance is the financing activity that must comply with Sharia law. And it is practical application through the development of Islamic economy. Islamic finance, futures, banks, stock market, asset manager, and insurance providers. It is same as the conventional financial system. However, both Islamic and the regulation of the finance sector that relate to their traditional equivalents regulate these organizations. Along with the establishment of Islam, the common tradition of Islamic finance and banking come into being. And the Sharia law distinguish Islamic finance from conventional finance. The Islamic financial system, a code of conduct that guides Muslim. It means the adherence of Islam in social, in economy, and political matters. It is based on economic principle defined by Sharia. Sharia encourage equilibrium and fairness and discourage this action. As we know in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forbid us to do the haram things. Which is interest. Interest, as we know, riba. Riba is to increase or multiply into more than what is due. Riba is prohibited in Islam because it creates societal injustice. In riba-based transaction, the owner of the wealth gets return without any effort, but the borrowers carries all the risk. The second is the horror, uncertainty. Horror means uncertainty or to cheat or dilute. Horror-based transactions are unclear. Not everyone involved knows what to expect and can make the educate decisions. Horror occurs where a contract is entered into between two parties and one party needs full details, or when the underlying agreement is not managed by both parties. The third thing is gambling. Consists of two words in Arabic. It is maisir and qimar. It refers to transaction that involve gambling. Maisir is the acquisition of wealth by chance instead of by effort. Qimar refer to game of chance. Thus, in Islam, finance institution cannot be involved in contracts where the ownership of goods depends on uncertain event in the future. The last thing is prohibited product and industry. Islam forbids commodities and enterprise, which is finds to be damaging to society and a risk to social responsibility. For example, is alcohol, tobacco, sex, pornography, and other goods that are focused on confusion of gambling. It is the prohibited products.
Okay, so next we go to Islamic finance product. So I will, so here, I show you the example of the certain Islamic bank that have the Islamic product. So the first one is Afin Islamic Bank, which is they have Al-Wadiyah saving account, Al-Wadiyah current account, Al-Wadiyah Afin plus I. Okay, for the second one, AM Islamic Bank, basic current account I, Afdal is investment account I, Al-Taslif card I feature, feature. And the third one, the famous bank, which is Bank Islam. The first one is hire purchase I, leasing I, letter of credit I, and asset bills I. Outline of the issues. 1. Deposit or customer investment found from doubtful sources. 2. Depositors recovering deposit after the dissolution of Islamic banking institution. 3. E-wallet from Sharia perspective. And 4. The last one, Waqaf Istibdal. Get started. First issue.
Okay, we go to the first issue among the 4 issues that we will discuss in this presentation. So the first issue is deposit or customer investment fund from doubtful source. Refer to the slide. I divided this slide into 3 categories that we can easy to understand. So first is what is deposit funds. Second is what is investment fund. And the third is what is doubtful sources in Islamic perspective. So the first category is deposit fund. What is deposit fund? Deposit refers to a transaction that involves a transfer of something to another party for safekeeping. In the finance term, a deposit may refer to a sum of money or collective money kept or placed in a bank account, typically to gain interest or dividend. It also may refer to a portion of funds that is used as a collateral or security for the delivery of a good. So I think that is the definition for the deposit fund. So we're going to the next category, which is investment fund. Investment fund is a supply of capital belonging to numerous investors used to collectively purchase securities while each investor retains ownership and control of his own share. Investment fund provides a broader selection of investment opportunity, greater management expertise, and lower investment fees than investors might be able to obtain on their own. There are a few types of investment include mutual fund, unit trust, exchange funds, money market fund, and hedge funds. So we going to the third category, which is the doubtful sources in Islam. So there are 3 doubtful sources in Islam, which is firstly is riba, secondly is gharar, and the third is maisir. So this interest rates or riba, or in modern language we call it is interest, is a charge imposed by conventional bank on loans, financing, or another transaction where the Muzakarah Fatwa Kebangsaan has legally defined this element of riba is split into two in Islam, namely the riba buyung, which is purchasing, and riba duyun. And this is totally haram, totally cannot be used in the transaction. So next we discuss about the maisir, which is gambling. In the Islamic financial transaction, the business of gambling is when a certain amount of capital or fund is invested in a gambling place where the income from the source is unclean and illegal. Gambling is indeed prohibited in Islam because it includes an element of betting and uncertain things. So, gharar. Gharar in Islam means doubt. So, doubtful sources. Unknown risk of occurrence or not, according to the language, is gharar. There are different definitions among the jurists or scholars, such as things that are not known either or not they can be obtained, or things that are doubtful between safe or destroyed. And the third and the last things that are doubtful either one can obtain from the exchange of goods, or things that are known to be perfect or not to. This distinction between trading in salam and trading al-ghara is that trading in ghara cannot be sure either not the result is obtained. That's all. So we're going to the next slide. We are going to discuss about is this fund or from the doubtful sources is allowed in Islamic financial transaction or not. So in this slide, we are going to discuss about the two solutions. Firstly, from the solution of Sharia Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia, and the second one is opinion among the scholar. Some accept and some is not accept. So we're going to talk about the first solution by Sharia Advisory Council SAC Bank Negara Malaysia. This kind of fund from the doubtful sources is allowed and permissible in the Islamic financial transaction. So the SAC Syariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia resolved on 27 April 2006. The Islamic financial institution were authorized to accept applications and for the opening of a customer deposit account or investment account without carrying out investigation to determine either the sources of the fund were permissible, halal or haram, or mixture of two of them. So, nonetheless, the SAC does not object to the establishment internal screening process by Islamic financial institution to determine either the received fund are Sharia compliant or not. This kind of the solution is strength from the proof from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Khalal reported based on narration from Atta. He said Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited Muslims from running a partnership with Jews and Christians except if the transaction is under the supervision of the Muslim. So this hadith indicates clearly that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam allows Muslim to enter into a transaction with non-Muslim in partnership, even though their sources of fund are doubtful. So as long as the mastermind, as long as the Islamic financial institution is the mastermind of the supervision for this kind of transaction, the permissible of fund from the doctor's source is allowed in transaction. So we going to the next, which is or the opinion from the scholars. Some accept and some argue about this fund and the hukum. So we going to the first place is the accept. The scholar accept the transaction. Okay. So the scholar accept this transaction Uh, this view is in line with one of the Ibn Sirin narrative, as Imam Ibn Rajab stated, and Ibn Taymiyyah view, which requires the acceptance of property acquired before a person repents. This proof that strengthens this opinion are mentioned in the Quran and Hadith. In the Quran, A'udzubillahi minasyaitanirrajim, wala taziru waziratun wizra ukhra. One will not bear the sin of another, based on the above proposition. So this verse of Quran is clearly mentioned that one is not bear the sins of another. So one is not bear of the sins, because Islamic financial is the freedom institution that control the transaction. So as this is not the burden for the Islamic financial institution, that there can be the what I call that, the burden for Islamic financial is out from this issue. So this kind type of fund from doctor sources in Islamic financial is accepted and allowed in Islam.
Second issue.
The second issue is depositors recovering deposit after the dissolution of Islamic banking institution. So depositor recovering back, which mean the uh, other depositor can get back their deposit from the account after the dissolution of Islamic banking institution. So in Islamic banks, there are two main types account that are commonly known, which is firstly is current account, and the second one is investment account. Current account deposits are considered trust or safekeeping, and provide depositor with the security their money against the guarantee of the bank to return their fund on request. So according to the Sharia Advisory Council is referred to ensure the priority of a particular category of depositor compared to the depositor in recovering their respective saving uh, at dissolution of Islamic banking institution. So according to the slide, at the third point is the the resolution by Syariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara has been resolved by the resolution of the Islamic states. The priority of depositor in recovering their respective deposit in the Islamic banking institution by a banking institution is subject to the underlying contract or concept conclude with the Islamic banking institution. So in this regard, wadi'ah and debt-based deposit are given priority over mudarabah-based deposit. Nevertheless, in order to meet the current legal requirement under Section 81 of the Bank and the Financial Institution Act 1989, mudarabah-based deposit should be given. Okay. So I repeatedly, mudarabah-based deposit should be given priority over other creditors, claim and other liabilities. This is because mudarabah-based concept deposit is regarded as a deposit and has priority in terms of claims. So in this issue, either the customer deposit can get back from the dissolution of Islamic banking institution. So we can conclude that the mudarabah based concept of deposit should be given a priority rather than wadi'ah and debt based deposit. So we can conclude from that whoever who have their mudharabah account in this bank, in this Islamic banking institution, so they can get their deposit from this account.
The third issue.
For this slide is about concept of e-wallet. E-wallet is a type of electronic card which is used for transaction made online through a computer or smartphone. E-wallet also is a type of prepaid account in which a user can store her money for any future online transaction. An e-wallet is protected with a password. With the help of an e-wallet, one can make payment for groceries, online purchase, and flight tickets, among others. In addition, this e-wallet function both online and in papers, which means physical store, where the user and retailers will usually check either barcodes or payment QR codes. It's performed as a traditional wallet. Consumer move money from their wallet to the shopkeeper's wallet when customer go to the store to purchase a product, anything. Only the shape is what determines ordinary wallets and e-wallets. Wallet is in physical form, while e-wallet is virtual form. E-wallet actually have mainly two components, which means software and information. The software component store personal information and provides security and encryption of the data. And for the information component in a database of details provided by the user, which includes their name, shipping address, payment method, amount to be paid, credit or debit detail actually. Alright, example for e-wallet is GrabPay, Touch and Go, and Boost, and meanwhile, example for worldwide is like Samsung Pay, Alipay, and Google Pay, and so on. We look at the SACB of BNMU. It stands for Syariah Advisor Council by Bank Negara Malaysia. So, they said e-wallet is permissible system under Syariah in protecting the right and obligation of the contracting parties. The e-wallet must be arranged based on the relevant Syariah contract. So, based on the statement, the view of Syariah Advisor Council about this e-wallet system is that wakalah appears to be one of the suitable Syariah contract. The regulating governs the right and obligations of the contracting parties in transaction. So the SAC ruled that the application of wakalah in the e-wallet transaction may be structured as follows. First, the approved issuer offer agency service to make settlement on behalf of the user to the machine. And second, the user place the fund in a registered e-wallet account with the approved issuer. And the last one is the approved issuer establish trust account or dedicated deposit account to store fund placed by the user and shall be used for settlement to mission or refund to the user. Before we go to the next point, let me tell about what is the wakalah. Wakalah is a contract of the agency where a person, which means the principal appoints another person to do certain well-defined tasks on behalf of him of him for a specific fee or commission. In wakalah, the principal does not have the time, knowledge or expertise to execute the work himself. So this is wakalah. So the next point is, before CAC decide this wakalah contract is suitable to evaluate, there are considered a few things. This Sharia contract that following the rule of approved issue to intermediate payment between the user and the machine, and they also consider the funds placed by the user is intended for payment purpose. The fund are kept in a trust account or dedicated deposit account and managed by the approved issuer. And the last one, they also consider that under the guideline, the approved issuer is only allowed to issue e-wallet as a payment instrument and invest the funds placed in the trust account or dedicated deposit account and thereby use the revenue generated from the investment. The conclusion from SSE about this issue, the technological advancement has paved the way for digital development to enable seamless and efficient way to do commercial transaction. In this regard, Majma' Fiqh al-Islami allows commercial transaction to be concluded through modern communication tools or device, given the technology as a means of transaction is neutral and permissible to use. This is lined with the following legal maxim: al-aslu as-sihah. This means the original state of thing is permissible. So the conclusion for e-wallet issue is, e-wallet system do not compromise the principle of Sharia. Let alone allow individuals to simplify their daily affairs. However, technical process and advertising methods that e-wallet provider company need to study if they want to ensure that their service are Sharia compliance. They must do more research. Process and advertising methods that e-wallet provider company need to study if they want to ensure that their service are Sharia compliance. They must do more research lah. And as long as the product and service purchase are Sharia compliant, such as not buying forbidden alcohol or do the thing that prohibited by Islam, such this e-wallet service is not to have elements that are contrary to the principle of Sharia.
Fourth issue. Okay, my name is Azmatan Adawiyah and I will present you about Waqaf Istibdal. Okay, Waqaf is means that withhold a property from Waqaf and is provide benefits for welfare and interest of religion and the Muslim. The property is endowed because of Allah and it cannot be taken back or owned by any other individuals. Which is, if the property becomes a waqaf, it's already become Allah's property. And then istibdal. Istibdal is means also known as substitution, which is means that exchange of waqaf property with another waqaf property that provide at least similar service or income without any change in provisions laid down by the founder. Okay, scholars' view on wakaf istibal. Okay, the first one is on Mazhab Hanafi. In Mazhab Hanafi, they accept the wakaf istibal concept, and then they also give a lot of space to perform wakaf istibal. And then this is because they want to maintaining the continue of wakaf, and the intention of wakaf is made by wakif. Wakif is mean that someone who wakaf. Okay, so we move to Mazhab Shafi'i. In Mazhab Shafi'i, the implementation of istiqbal are really limited and banned for masjid, which is they can do wakaf istiqbal, but not too many issues or cases. And then there are banned for masjid, which is they can't do wakaf istiqbal on masjid. And then this is show us that Imam Shafi'i are really a strict person, and he really strict with his opinion. We go to Mazhab Hanbali, which is in Mazhab Hanbali, the implementation on istibdal, on wakaf istibdal, they have a really relatively open view compared to the others mazhab. Okay, then the obligations of istibdal is divided into two, that's stated by Ibn Taymiyyah. The first one is istibdal is done because of need or desire. The second one is istibdal is done because of the demands of a clear musalah rajih. Okay, and then on Mazhab Hanbali also can use wakaf istibdal on mawquf, and the price of selling will be used to buy another property to replace the first property that has been waqif, which is we need to replace as the as the property, as the same the property that we change, like that. Okay, and the second one is in Mazhab Maliki. The last one is Mazhab Maliki, which is in Mazhab Maliki they are not required against mawquf, even if the property has not bring the benefit anymore. And then some of them say that it's required, and then require a mawquf that not benefit the recipient of the mawquf trust, how, and then the property shall exchange for the same type of property, which is mean if we do some wakaf istibdal on a land, we need to change the land with the land, the house with a house, like that. The last one is scholars' view on wakaf istibdal of mosque. Okay, first one is in Mazhab Hanafi. Okay, they say that they can involve mawquf if istibdal can involve mawquf if other than the mosque to maintain the continuity of the wakaf and the purpose, which is intention. Okay, intention that the wakaf is made by the person who do the wakaf. Okay, they cannot sell the mosque because of the ownership has become to Allah property, and then some of the scholars in Mazhab Hanafi said that they can do wakaf istiqbal on mosque if they get the permission from the Qadi. Okay, then Mazhab Shafi'i said that istiqbal istibdal on mawquf is very limited, and then especially doing it against the mosque, and which is they cannot sell the mosque to the other people. This is because some of them said that in the area of the mosque they still can perform solah and do an iktikaf. Okay. Also, they need to take care of the bricks, the falling bricks from the mosque, because the falling bricks also can do the reconstruction, which is they need to reuse the bricks again, or related with the construction, which is this is means that the bricks also wakaf property. Yeah. Okay, and then some of mazhab Syafi'i, scholars from mazhab Syafi'i said they can do wakaf istiqbal if the mosque already collapsed or damaged, and then get the permission from the Qadi. And the last one, the construction must be near the demolished mosque, which is they need to do a reconstruction near the mosque, the previous mosque. Okay, next to mazhab Maliki. Okay, and mazhab Maliki said that istiqbal are not required for wakaf property, which is that consists immovable property, even though it does not bring benefits. In this case, that there are also benefit. There are also some of Maliki scholars in Maliki said they can do on immovable property, even though they are not does not bring the benefits. Okay. The scholars, they agree or accept the wakaf istiqbal on mosque, said that they need to convert the wakaf property with the wakaf with the same property, which is mean that if the wakaf property is building, they need to exchange it with building. So in this case, for the mosque, they need to change the mosque with the mosque. Okay, the last one is mazhab Hanbali. In mazhab Hanbali, they said, as we know that mazhab Hanbali are very have open views. So in mazhab Hanbali, they said that possible to sell the mosque if the mosque already damaged or doesn't have any benefit at all. Okay, and then this is this is because of the wakaf property doesn't meet the original purpose, which is if the community had a mosque and then the mosque is too small for the community, then they can sell the community. They can sell the mosque and do the bigger mosque, but they have a condition. They didn't need to enlarge the mosque if the mosque doesn't have many people to come to the mosque. And then if they sell the mosque, the price of the value must be applied to the other mosque that the most that needed the fund or need the help in the aspect of money of something that valuable. And the view of contemporary fiqh scholars of wakaf of istiqbal on wakaf istiqbal. Okay, first from Muhammad Fasih said that from the book of Imam Al-Mardawi, he said that if the wakaf goods cannot benefit, then it's obligatory for istibdal with good of the same value. He also said that wakaf istibdal on mosque is required to replace with the purpose of rebuilding it and the general maslahah, which is if the mosque already collapsed, they need to rebuilding it. And then the second one is Qatar Ministry from the web that the Qatar Ministry state that the wakaf is remain as it, will still remain as it, which is they cannot sell the mosque, and then it cannot be remove the status, which is if the mosque on the name of Allah, which is the wakaf, they need to remain, they need to stay the wakaf status on the mosque. Okay, so the last one is Qatar Ministry. The last one is Muasarah Committee Fatwa Kuasaan that said that if the wakaf istiqbal they said that wakaf istiqbal means to exchange wakaf property with another property through the sale or purchase, so with the purpose of maintaining wakaf property is required according to Imam Abu Hanifah. Okay, the last one is Muasarah Committee Fatwa Kebangsaan decide that wakaf istiqbal means exchange wakaf, that maintaining wakaf property, which is means they required according to taqlid of Imam Abu Hanifah.
So the conclusion that we conclude for our presentation is we as the Muslim community should therefore support the product and institution of Islamic finance by subscribing to goods that have been in line with Islamic law as the realization of economic jihad to boost the Islamic people's economic achievement today. Before buy the goods offer, we also need to do little research in order to give ourselves and also the Islamic economy an advantage. By choosing Islamic goods over conventional one, make wise choice and seek advice from competent and authoritative parties, and seek advice from competent and authoritative parties and their opinions. The Islamic finance institutions also should be in action, always promote goods manufacture such as using the media as a wasilah to expose this product to the public. And finally is future generation also should be named to generate assistance for the growth of the banking system and Islamic finance in Malaysia to continue this analysis for personal funding. So that's all from us. Thank you.